Chapter 22. The man began to climb the bandshell steps. The anticipation and fear were too much for Molly, and her teeth began to chatter. She clenched them shut only to find that her head was shaking. A chill December gust blew the smell of the man toward her. It was a foul smell of hamburger fat, sweat, and old tobacco, and it made Molly feel sick. As the man came up the steps, Molly saw that he was wearing headphones and strange dark glasses with a spiral pattern in the middle of them. In one hand he was holding a briefcase, and in the other hand a microphone. This was wired up to a machine of some sort on his belt, which was, in turn, attached to the earphones. He was clad in a sheepskin coat, and he was, Molly decided, definitely very, very weird. But, nervous as he made her feel, Molly concentrated on bringing her eyes up to hypnotic peak. As he stepped onto the bandshell, she looked up at him with her eyes on full glare. "Welcome," she said slowly, intent on putting this nasty rat into a very deep trance. But instead of being stopped in his tracks, the man took another step toward Molly and pointed his microphone at her. "I'm afraid, Miss Moon, your hypnotic eyes will not work on me, since I am wearing anti-hypnotism glasses designed by Dr. Mesmer himself. As for your hypnotic voice, I am not hearing it. This device is processing what you say and scrambling your tone. Through this, you sound like an alien from outer space." Molly was stunned. Then she saw the golden scorpion that hung around the kidnapper's neck. Its diamond eye flashed in the moonlight, and at once she recognized the ugly face of the professor from the Bryersville library. At this point, peculiarly enough, Molly's fears fell away. She actually felt relieved to see the professor, since she'd been expecting a terrifying maniac kidnapper instead. And Molly felt strangely comforted to see someone who knew Bryersville. It was almost like seeing an old friend, but then her mind flashed back to the Bryersville library. She saw horribly clearly the professor shouting at the librarian. He was demanding a book that she had lost, a book by Dr. Logan, the book Molly had stolen. Molly looked at the professor's extraordinary gear. Within the same time it takes to net a slow butterfly, she realized that she was in deep trouble. "Let's get straight to the point," the professor began. "I know your tricks, Molly Moon, or should I say the cuckoo. I know exactly how you operate. I know where you come from and what you've done. That hypnotism book you found was mine. I paid for it. It was my property. I've known about Logan's hypnotism since before you were in diapers." From behind his squirrely spectacles, Nachman was actually starstruck by Molly. Everyone else was struck by her because they'd been hypnotized, but Nachman actually was. Molly, he thought, had the makings of a great criminal herself, and it was a pleasure for him to meet her. So, since he felt they were very alike, he spoke in a more gentle tone. "As you see, I've been very annoyed by you, Miss Moon. It has been extremely tiresome, although entertaining sometimes, to have had to chase you around. It has pushed my patience to the limit. I think you'll understand when I say that I expect something in recompense for my inconvenience." Molly's heart thumped. This was extremely unnerving. She wished someone else would come by, and she looked about for help. Nachman said immediately, "If you want to see your dog again, you can't think of getting anyone else involved. You do want to see your dog again, don't you?" Molly nodded unhappily. Nachman reached into his pocket. "Excuse me. Here," he said, chucking a red leather strap into Molly's lap, "is her collar." Molly bit her lip. "Now," he continued, "this is all going to be very painless, I promise you. In fact, you may even enjoy what I'm going to ask of you, Molly Moon. But I warn you once again, you must do as I ask, because if you don't, I assure you, you won't see your pug again, and there will be many, many more people in New York who'll learn about your little secret. Let me put it like this. I'm sure a lot of people would be very upset if they knew how you deliberately cheated your way to the top. In fact, in a court of law, you could be convicted of fraud. Of course, someone of your age wouldn't go to jail, just a youth facility, but I've heard that those institutions aren't very comfortable places, much worse than bad orphanages. Nachman smiled with a sinister glint in his eye. But Petula, Molly stuttered, is she okay? We'll come to her. What do you want? Molly burst out. Money? I've got loads. Just tell me. Money? Professor Nachman chuckled. In an indirect way, yes, I do want money. There is a matter, he said, opening his briefcase. Yes, there's a little matter that requires your cooperation. Nachman took a large envelope out of his case and, with a gloved hand, passed it to Molly. This envelope contains all you need to know in order to help me. I want to borrow your skills. Just for a day. It's a small favor. In return for the good fortune that my hypnotism book has brought you. What do you want me to do? Molly asked, taking the envelope as if it were about to blow up in her hand. I want, Nachman sighed lazily. Well, the first thing I want, of course, is the book Hypnotism. That goes without question. The second thing, this favor thing, it is. I want you to help me rob a bank. End of chapter 22.